Welcome to Grand Arbiter Filibusters. Hope you're excited. As far as opening hand goes, we've got two petitioners in the hand. Do we want to mulligan for... I guess this is not... I'd like to mulligan for some sort of card draw, but we've got our mana base. Yeah, I guess we keep... I mean, do we want to hold... Yeah, let's go and mulligan. I'm not super wild about this. We want to have some sort of... yeah, we'll keep on this one. We still got... the Sleeping Dragon in our hand, and hopefully our mulligan's going to be a little bit, we'll get the Scry, let's definitely put that on the bottom. Yeah, we should have kept on that first one, sorry about that. So hopefully we run into a couple more lands, and then we can make these petitioners a little bit better. But yeah, I hope you're excited for some filibusting today. Let's get down Sea Chrome Coast, and then anything else we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. We are playing Grand Arbiter, the Fart Monster. White spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Blue spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Then spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast. We're playing against the Scar-Striped Varolz. I think they said that correctly. Look at that turn 1 Death Shadow play. I love it. Each creature card in your graveyard has Scavenge, and we do not hit the land drop past the turn. Should have mulliganed on this one. I could see us, hitting the land drop, going for Arcane Denial, getting some card draw, and then rolling out from there. So hopefully we hit a few more drops. Each creature in your graveyard has Scavenge, and it's equal to its mana cost. If you don't know what Scavenge is, let's say they get down the Scar-Striped. They go for a Scavenge off of Death Shadow. For 1 black mana, they can put 13 counters onto any creature, and that's some good magic right there. Sacrifice another creature, regenerate him, and then, yeah, that's both commanders. So let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you're in the market for building a filibusting deck, hey, look no further. MTGOTraders has you covered. And shout out to inkgaming.com. If you're in the market for a coupon, not for a coupon, if you're in the market for a custom playmat, use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order and help out the channel at the same time. Come on, there we go. Run into it, land. And it is, do we want to go for... I think, yeah, I like leaving up Arcane Denial because that's going to put us in a position where we get some card draw, and that's exactly what we want to see. And then we're going to slowly get these petitioners out and start going from there. So we did cover both commanders, we covered the sponsors. It is officially free time. We can have some fun. But yes, welcome to this deck. This is filibusting deck. There's two things that we're going to do with this deck. We're going to filibuster, we're going to read scrolls and bust some heads, and unfortunately for our opponent, we're all out of scrolls, so we're here to bust some heads. And this is a Persistent Petitioner's Tribal. We're not doing any sort of milling, especially in a deck like this. We don't want to help our opponent out. And there's no, unfortunately, there's no land drop from our opponent. So there we go, Colonnade. We'll put that into play tapped. And once again, if our opponent's got the Elvish Visionary beat sticks, we're going to let this come across, and we'll cash in this Arcane Denial, hopefully on our opponent, and that'll set back the commander tax on him, and that allows us to start rolling out some of these petitioners, end up getting down Adaptive Automaton, and just going ham, just swinging in, busting some heads. It was like, when I came up with this deck idea, it worked out that Persistent Petitioners is going to work out with Grand Arbiter because Grand Arbiter certainly gives us a really nice reduced cost. But Arcane Denial, Adios Muchacho, and then at least it's going to give them a little bit more card draw. At the same time, give us some card draw. That's kind of what we want to do. We just get to that 4 mana slot. That way we can outpace, hopefully we can outpace that Death Shadow out of the graveyard because nothing has trample at this point. But yeah, I wanted to build Tribal because, I saw Persistent Petitioners. I was like, get down Coat of Arms, and that's like good game. And so then I was like, what else can we throw in there? And, you can mill with these Petitioners. You certainly can, but I don't like milling because, in a deck like this, it's going to help our opponent out. If we're playing against a Snapcaster deck, it might help them out too. So it's kind of one of those, I don't know. I don't enjoy milling unless we're going to have an instant speed milling win, and that's Mindcrank. So, if you're a fan of milling, we're not going to see any milling over here. Jolt, why didn't you mill? You could have activated these people. No, what we're doing is we're busting heads this game. That's what we're going for. All right, so our opponent's going to get the double card draw for the Arcane Denial. We do have 5-of-a-kind Persistent Petitioners in the hand. So, fingers crossed, we do run into that land drop. We can... Sphinx Revelation, take that. It's not the best thing in the world, but we can make it work. So do we want to go for Adaptive Automaton? Because if we end up going Adaptive Automaton, yeah, I think I like that. Let's go Adaptive Automaton. We're going to name Advisor off of this because we've got Advisor, Advisor. We could name Human, but we want to reduce the amount of collateral that we're going to give our opponent. So we're just simply going to name Advisor off of this and then pass the turn to our opponent. It does remind me when I first started my channel, like this is like 2 years ago, and I tried to look for the comment, but I couldn't find it. But somebody, I wanted to make an Azor's Electors deck, or Elocors, however you say it. I wanted to make a deck like that, and somebody said you should build Advisor Tribal, and that was back in the day. That was 2 years ago, and I was like, and I looked at it hard, and man, it was hard to build Advisor Tribal because there's not a lot of good stuff out there. And so whenever this came out, I finally, like 2 years later, whoever that random YouTube comment was, if you're still watching, here's your Advisor Tribal deck. You know, technically I've kind of cheated on the challenge, but you know, I'm good on my word. It's been 2 years since we had the tribal deck. Okay, so we got Elvish Visionary swinging in for 1 with the open green. Yeah, I'm not going to bite on that. I don't know what that is, but yeah, whatever that is, they can certainly go for that. So, all right, swinging in for 1, that's going to put us down to 27. Yeah, if they've got a pump spell, they've got it, but we're not going to lose our Adaptive Automaton. But yeah, it did feel good to build a Advisor Tribal deck 2 years later and be like, hey, there you go, you asked for it. And here we are. And it's been a lot of fun to play so far. And it's just, when you get down Grand Arbiter and you just start casting these petitioners for 1 blue mana, oh, it's some feel-good magic. I love it. All right, so we do hit the land drop. Beautiful. We'll get down Arid Mesa. And let's crack Arid Mesa, and we're going to go for Grand Arbiter. For next turn, or at least this turn, and the next turn that's going to set us up for a really nice petitioner. So let's crack this air. And somehow I did not add Tundra to this deck, which is just really wild to me. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't add Hollow Fountain or Tundra in here, so I do apologize. I don't know why, but we'll just grab a plane. If you're wondering why I don't grab any of those, it's kind of weird. But yeah, we can still tap down planes off Mystic Gates. I need to change that after this game, but we'll go for Grand Arbiter Fart Monster. That's going to be blue. There we go. Get down the Fart Monster himself, and then we'll pass the turn back over to our opponent. And then we'll set up for a Petitioner win. Not win, but at least kind of rolling out all these cards next turn. And then we'll go for the Sleeping Dragon. It'll be a good way for us to get some really nice tribal going. If you're wondering why I call him Grand Arbiter Fart Monster, so whenever I first started doing my channel, whenever I'd make a new thumbnail, I would do, you know, whatever it is versus blank. Instead of just putting deck name, I would type in Grand Arbiter, and then because that would fill in the bottom line really nice, and I can never remember how to spell Augustine the Fourth, and so I just ended up just saying Grand Arbiter Fart Monster because the Fart Monster would fit really nice underneath Grand Arbiter. It'd be like 2 rows of text. And I've changed how I do my thumbnails now, but he's still, in my head, he's always been Grand Arbiter Fart Monster. And plus he's floating. So, you know, in the lore, I don't know how he's floating, but, you know, it's not out of the norm that it might be because he's a fart monster. That might be why he's floating. So, I don't know. The jury's still out on that one. Anyway, so next turn. We're going to tap down Mystic Gate. That's going to give us double blue. We've got double blue off Colonnade and Seachrome Coast. We're going to get some good filibustering going once we get these creatures down. And then we end up with the Sleeping Dragon on the battlefield. That's going to make these petitioners, they're going to be a 2/4 with the Adaptive Automaton down. And then once we get down Sleeping Dragon after that, they're going to make him a 3/5. So that's going to be a wonderful way for us to swing in. Hopefully we can run into some sort of, you know, Soul Ring, Mana Crypt style artifact. And once we get that down, we can we can go for swings. I'm holding my cat in my hand, and like I just said that last little line, and she looked at me like I didn't move or anything, and she just looked at me like, "Why did you do that?" Like it was such a bad line of play to go for. It's like it's not a bad line to play, Dorothy. In fact, it's perfectly fine. All right, so we are playing against a Scar-Striped Infect. So thankfully, it protects from red and white. Nothing has trample. That's the main thing right now. Nothing has trample. So that's going to allow us to... Oh, there we go. Another petitioner. Let's go... Oh, sorry. There we go. She wanted out of my lap now. So now I can adjust my back and not have bad posture. Let's go Persistent Petitioners. And this is where this deck shines. Look at this. And the fact that Adaptive Automaton is going to... The fact that Grand Arbiter is a human advisor too feels really good. Oh, look at this. Boom. Heard there was some filibustering that needed to happen. We're here. We're the busters. All right, anything else? We're not going to swing into that mess, and then we're going to go and pass the turn. So if we can somehow find Coat of Arms, we do need to get to 5 mana for that. But at least at this point, we've got a really nice board state developed. If we want to, we can go for double Petitioners next turn. But I think I kind of like getting down the Sleeping Dragon. And yeah, we're not going to be milling our opponent because our opponent is a graveyard-based deck. And that's all it's going to do is just 100% help our opponent. And if we end up going for Sphinx Revelation for 1, it's not the worst thing in the world. Whisper Silk Cloak. Okay, so we definitely need to kind of turn the clock up on our opponent. Because if they end up going Whisper Silk Cloak, make one of their creatures unblockable, Death Shadow. Now, the good thing about Whisper Silk Cloak is if we can run into one piece of removal, Scavenge is going to be a targeted ability. Yeah, they have to put it onto a creature, so that's going to give it Shroud. So at least we have some sort of way to kind of stop a Death Shadow, because it is scary when you're playing against the Scar-Striped Death Shadow in the graveyard and open Whisper Silk Cloak. So we're going to have to find some sort of way to kind of hopefully combat that. And then let's see what we rip into Cyclonic Roll. That's a wonderful way to stop that. Okay, so now that we do have Cyclonic Rift, we can stop this Whisper Silk Cloak. That's going to be good. Let's just... yeah, because even, I think we can set it up to where we can get down Sleeping Dragon. It's going to give it +1/+1. Yeah, that's going to be hard. Yeah, I like this. So we go for +1. Let's go Plains. We're going to go double, and then one day, I'll promise, I'm going to remember that Grand Arbiter gives us a reduced cost. I always forget about that. We get down the Sleeping Dragon. That's going to actually make for a really nice Sphinx Revelation, too, now that I think about it. Let's go and push in. With all these persistent petitioners, yeah, that's good, because these are very disposable. So go and push in with the whole crew. That's going to be 3, 6, 9, 12. And that's still going to leave us open on Cyclonic Rift for 1 mana. So I like that. Let's push in for 12. We could get down another petitioner, but it's a little too risky for my taste. At least we have some sort of answer to go. Kind of bounce whatever creature they go back. If they end up getting down the Scar Stripe and somehow generate a little bit of extra mana, at least this way we can bounce that creature back and kind of keep this Tribal Onslaught going, which is just, well, look at that. And then we could swing with Grand Arbiter or both of these creatures, but like I mentioned, we want to make sure this is kind of coast is semi-clear. Okay, so we got the crew swinging in. That's going to be Infect for 2, Infect for 3. I guess we can block on one of these creatures. Yeah, so let's block on the Blight Mamba. Let's go Adaptive Automaton on Elvish Visionary. And then we go Sleeping Dragon on Phyrexian Crusader. Oh, and excuse me, it's protection from white, so that is definitely not going to work. Let's reset these blockers really quick. Yeah, there we go. All right, so Adaptive Automaton on Phyrexian Dreadnought. We have the Sleeping Dragon on him, and then Mr. Fart Monster on Elvish Visionary. So we're going to click OK. If there is some sort of instant speed, whatever, we're probably just going to see Regenerate from the snake, but we still have Cyclonic Rift if we need to bounce something back. All right, target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Yeah, that's no added benefit. That's okay. It's going to make it indestructible, and then... we'll see what we can swing in on the back end, and we'll see what this last little spell is. It's going to be 2 total mana, regenerate it. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll end up with a few -1 counters on a few of our creatures, but on the back end, that's going to be, I think that might end up being lethal on the back end if we end up swinging in. You know, this has been, we've played against a little bit of a, not necessarily lower powered deck, but I think this should be lethal on the back end. If we, we'll see what they get down, but this, yeah, definitely going to be, yeah, 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. That's going to be, yeah, it's going to be 18. And they've drawn another petitioners. Okay, so let's go and swing in with the crew. We're going to swing in with everybody. Adaptive Automaton's going to get that that sword club swinging in. There we go. Look at this filibustering time. Swinging in, that's going to knock our opponent down to -1 and close the game out. So you can definitely see where, even if we weren't playing as a graveyard deck, I wouldn't have been milling anyway, because we don't want to, we could mill them out, but we can close the game out so much quicker with petitioners swinging in for combat damage. Just get down a couple different tribal effects, Adaptive Automaton, and get down the Sleeping Dragon, which is also a Human Visor, which actually works out really well, and just start going to town. Getting that reduced cost off Grand Arbiter, That is some really good Magic right there. So anyways, if you enjoyed your filibustering time, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.